Carolina Barbecue Festival's 5th anniversary will be the Queen City's biggest barbecue party yet. 30 pitmasters, 3 big events, and it all gets started with the barbecue brunch, Brisket and Biscuits. Expert barbecue pitmasters team up with Charlotte's top chefs to create a curated food event in partnership with Savor Charlotte. Brisket and Biscuits, March 28th at Town Brewing in Charlotte. Reserve your tickets right now at CarolinaBBQFest.org. To discover other features in Savor Charlotte's March culinary adventure, visit the Eat and Drink menu at charlottesgotalot.com. Winter weather may be freezing you out of your barbecue plans this time of year, but the Low and Slow Barbecue Show is still burning brightly to warm you up with the promise of the future and what's coming once we can get out of the house and get back on the barbecue trail. How about barbecue brunch in Charlotte? Maybe you're looking for a new barbecue joint. There's one getting ready to open in Spindale, or a wing place you've never tried. We'll talk about all today's episode of the Low and Slow Barbecue Show, sponsored by Carolina Barbecue Festival, April 17th and 18th in Charlotte's Victoria Yards. The full slate of events will include more than 30 pitmasters, 3 big events. All the details at CarolinaBBQFest.org. Go there for pitmaster lineups, menus, entertainment schedules, and of course, the tickets. You can also go to lowslowbbqshow.com, click into our blog about this year's festival for a ticket link, get it, use it, enter the code Low and Slow, and get a discount on all your event tickets. Those events will begin March 28th with the Carolina Barbecue Brunch at Town Brewing in Charlotte. They're calling it this year the Brisket and Biscuits event. Of course, we had the scoop on the theme in our last week's episode. Today, we're excited to bring you the lineup of featured pitmasters and chefs. This year's event pairs Carolina barbecue experts with some of the Charlotte region's favorite chefs, and the brunch is presented in partnership with Savor Charlotte. If you don't know, Savor Charlotte's a program from the Charlotte Regional Visitors Authority, a unique culinary experience that offers a variety of curated menus, interactive classes, themed dinners, and, of course, the one and only live event, Brisket and Biscuits. All this is going on in the latter part of March 11th through the 28th. You can find out more at charlottesgotalot.com. And, of course, the Brisket and Biscuits event features all those chefs from around Charlotte. Let's talk about those barbecue brunch pairings. It includes at the top our buddy Matthew Register from Southern Smoke Barbecue in Garland. Of course, we've had him on the Low and Slow Barbecue Show several times in the past. We always enjoy meeting him at Pinehurst and the Christopher Prieto Pitmaster Invitational. If you don't know, he's a cookbook author. He wrote Southern Smoke. You can find out more about him at southernsmokebbqnc.com. Of course, he cooks for Marcus King when he comes to town and has a family reunion. He's at the Holy Smokes Festival, the ACC football games. I think he was at Duke and maybe another game during this football season. You name it, Matthew Register is going to be there. So he's definitely going to be there with Carolina Barbecue Festival's Brisket and Biscuits. He's going to be teamed up with Chris Coleman. He's the chef and partner for Built on Hospitality, a farm to fork focused Charlotte restaurant group that includes the Goodyear House, Old Town Kitchen and Cocktails, Folia, Chief's Modern Cocktail Parlor as well. If you don't know, Chris is a Charlotte native who got to start pretty early age and was at the McNinch House and then the Ashbury and Charlotte Marriott City Center. That was all before joining the Goodyear House in 2019. You know, with all that experience, he can cook up something really cool with Matthew Register. Matthew always does a lot of cool chefy stuff, as he likes to say, with some of the things that he's preparing at all those great festivals. We'll know that'll be a great combination of food experts. Also on the list, another pairing, Madison Ruckle. He's with Mama Jean's Barbecue and Soulful Sides from Roanoke, Virginia. Madison got his start with Home Team Barbecue in West Ashley in the Charlotte region. And of course, he's been around the world as a featured chef in many places. In 2024, Mama Jean's was named one of the South's best new barbecue joints. He'll make a great pairing with Chris Roginski, and he's the opening executive chef for Supperland. That's in Charlotte. And if you didn't know this as well, Supperland Charlotte's Colleen Hughes was just named the Michelin Guide's American South Exceptional Cocktails winner. Chris involved with Supperland from the outset. And before that, he was with Haber Dish. And now he's executive chef with Liluya Hall. It opened last year as a steakhouse focused on seafood. It's all inside a rehabilitated Methodist Episcopal Church in Dilworth. Goes back to 1915. So cool old building, cool restaurant. From what I understand, this is the place you want to be for brunch. And Saturday will be a great one if you're at Old Town Brewing on March 28th. Check them out. Chris Roginski and Madison Ruckle. Look forward to meeting those guys real soon. Another familiar face on the menu this year for barbecue brunch is Jake Wood from Lake Lawrence Barbecue. Jake and his team just opened a big new brick and mortar project in Cary. It combines all the Lawrence Food Company visions they had at Boxyard RTP. There was Lawrence Barbecue, Leroy's Taco Shop, Lagoon Bar. That's all now in one big house in Cary. It's a beautiful experience from the pictures I've seen on Instagram. He's getting a lot of recognition for the cool things that they're doing there. And, of course, he's got a great fine dining background with 18 Seaboard and Plates Kitchen before he launched the Lawrence Barbecue Pop-Up in 2021. He's gotten a shout out from Texas Monthly for his brisket. The barbecue snob likes his brisket, especially the beef fat caramel chicken wings. Everything he brings to the Carolina Barbecue Festival this each year is just out of this world good and creates great, unique takes on barbecue favorites. He'll be pairing up with another great flavor of background, Shail Johnson, executive chef for Community Matters Cafe. He is a James Beard Foundation Award semifinalist last year. His roots go back to the age of 13 in New Orleans, where at some point along the way, he spent time with Emeril Lagasse before coming to Johnson & Wales in Charlotte. A really cool story, what he's doing at Community Matters Cafe. We met that crew last year at the Barbecue Festival kickoff event on Friday night. Now Shail is involved here with the barbecue brunch. One of his projects with the Community Matters Cafe is they partner up with the Charlotte Rescue Mission and hire folks overcoming addiction and homelessness, try to get them into a job in the food service industry, which it's always good to have good, hardworking people ready to do good there. And it's cool to see what Shail's doing. So I'm excited to meet him as he pairs up with Jake Wood. You know they'll cook up something really cool for barbecue brunch. Also on the menu, another barbecue pairing, Matthew Berry from Midwood Smokehouse, Lewis Donald from Sweet Lou's Barbecue. Both these guys have been past guests on the show. We'd love to have them. Check them out, lowslowbbqshow.com. Midwood, as folks know, have been named the best barbecue joint in Charlotte, according to the Charlotte Observer readers. Of course, that's a pretty good ranking, I guess, there amongst anybody. Matthew joined the restaurant when the first location was opening. He'd been tending the kind of barbecue fires ever since then as executive chef. Now at all 6 Midwood locations, that's 14 years later since he got started. Matthew got started at the Q Shack on Hillsborough Street in Raleigh back in the college years at NC State. Left the Wolfpack alma mater with his history degree in hand, found himself doing nothing else but working as a catering director. Why not? What else do you do with a history degree? Spoken from an English degree holder. Catering director, and eventually he connected with Midwood's founder, Frank Scabelli, and now they've got a great barbecue tradition created here in the Carolinas. And another great new barbecue tradition, a little bit newer, I guess, Lewis Donald, he's partnering with Matthew Berry. Of course, Lewis is the founder of the Carolina Barbecue Festival, which has done so much to spotlight the Carolina barbecue community and raise funds for Operation Barbecue Relief, as well as other organizations around the Charlotte community. Lewis previously owned Dish in Plaza Midwood before he turned his attention over to focus full-time on Sweet Lou's, which is one of the Charlotte Magazine's top 50 restaurants in the Queen City. Lewis came to the Carolinas from Cleveland when he joined the Charlotte Country Club. He's participated in the Greenbrier Culinary Apprenticeship Program and has cooked all around the world, including a really cool collaboration he's got coming up in August in Ireland. He's partnering with a chef there to create a special disc and a dish and menu. Follow Sweet Lou. I am Sweet Lou on Instagram. You can get more details about that cool collaboration. Today, his collaboration, and for March 28th, his collaboration is with Matthew Berry. Finally, on our menu from the barbecue brunch, Brisket and Biscuit, We have Oscar Johnson from Jimmy Pearl's Chesapeake, which, according to jimmypearls.com, is an ode to Virginia's soul with Southern fare centered around coastal and Piedmont, Virginia foodways. Oscar is half of the team there, and he was named the North Carolina Restaurant and Lodging Association Chef of the Year in 2022. Last year, he was a finalist for that group's Pastry Chef of the Year. 2 years ago, a semifinalist for the James Beard Award. A lot of recognition coming for Oscar Johnson, and we'll look forward to seeing what he brings with all those accolades. Kind of makes me think we could have something sweet and dessert oriented in store for us for his Piedmont, Virginia flair. So that's what you want for brunch, something sweet. It'd be nice to finish it off with that savory touch, sweet and savory. Man, that's the best part of brunch. I tell you this, from last year's barbecue brunch, if Louis Donald doesn't serve up brisket and egg on Krispy Kreme donut, I might be a little bit disappointed. But I'm sure whatever he cooks up will blow our minds just the same. Stay tuned for the menus when they're announced. We'll have them in the newsletter at lowslowbbqshow.com. From this lineup, you know it's going to be a great menu. Tickets are $35. That includes a tasting at each station, combining barbecue craft and the brunch comforts. Again, look for the Carolina Barbecue Fest tickets, carolinabbqfest.org. You can find it at our website as well. That event, again, finally, March 28th, 11 to 3 o'clock, Town Brewing in Charlotte. And before we wrap up today's episode, I do want to hit some news stories that's kind of happened over the last little while. There's a new barbecue fire burning in Spindale in Rutherford County. That's sort of halfway between Shelby and Lake Lure. And it's another Ben in the barbecue business to go along with Ben's Backdraft. Now we have Ben's Smokehouse. Ben is opening a brick and mortar location in Spindale, January 31st. Ribbon cutting, soft opening, all that happened a little bit earlier in the week. That gave Rutherford County and that community a little bit of a look at the business that they've renovated inside 429 Spindale Street. That's the location. I know Ben and his team have done a lot rehabilitating an old facility to become a great barbecue spot. And Ben Edmondson is all the time on YouTube. That's how I learn these things. Featuring, while he's there, he features his barbecue adventures, some of the restaurant construction, catering events. So he's got a big following over there. You might check him out over on YouTube. And he's apparently left the corporate life a little while back. He's been catering. Now his team doing big things and excited about a brick and mortar location. Other news around the barbecue beat, Maurice's Piggy Park's original spot in West Columbia has shut down for 2 weeks starting January the 19th. They're renovating. You might remember back in October 2024, a fire burned those offices and the central kitchen there at that site. Since that fire, the restaurant's been using temporary smokers set up kind of out in the parking lot, as well as an adjacent satellite campus, you might say, to do some of their other cooking. Despite the closure, 7 other Maurice's Piggy Parks locations will remain open. Here's another closure. Mac's Speed Shop is closing in Raleigh after 2 years in the 5 Points neighborhood. That closure follows news of closures for Clyde's Cooper Barbecue, Beasley's Chicken and Honey near downtown Raleigh. Closure there is due to various factors affecting operations. There's some sort of suspicious sounds to that kind of thing, but it could be anything. Who knows? We do know Mac's Speed Shop continues to operate 7 locations across the Carolinas, including one that hosted a great pig picking back in the fall, another one of the Carolina Barbecue Festival events. Other things we've been looking at or have caught our notice. Which state do you think is the best for food? Sad news for the Carolinas. According to 5,000 people polled evenly across every state, Carolina number 1, New York, Texas, Louisiana, and Florida rounded out the top 5. I don't know what you could say. I don't know about Florida. Louisiana's pretty good. Texas, how did they get up there? That poll was conducted by HelloFresh. They also asked what dish and flavors best represent the states of these poll respondents. For North Carolina, good news, no surprise, it was barbecue. In South Carolina, they labeled it as soul food. So I think soul food definitely includes barbecue. So nice to see that Carolina's at least recognize that we got barbecue deep in our genes there. Speaking of the Carolinas and South Carolina specifically, Charleston Post and Courier's food editor has recently suggested an itinerary for 3 days in Charleston. That includes a barbecue lunch at, you pick, either Rodney Scott's Barbecue, Home Team Barbecue, Lewis Barbecue, and Palmyra Barbecue. It seems like all the usual suspects, but she only gives us a one stop, one thing to visit. So I feel like I got to get all four of them. You know, if I'm in Charleston for any period of time, at least 2 out of the 4, maybe not just once. Although Parker Milner does say barbecue must earn at least 1 spot on an itinerary. And maybe if you've only got 3 days, maybe 2 barbecue spots. Finally, where do wings fit into the world of barbecue? Think of wings, I think about meat that's been seasoned or brined and then smoked over hardwood and served maybe with or without sauce. That's barbecue, right? Most of our favorite barbecue joints serve good wings, as you probably know. Sometimes they smoke them and then fry them. That's the best of 2 worlds. Southern Living's new list of 20 best spots for chicken wings in the South includes 3 specifically barbecue places on that list. One of those was in the feature top 10. Another 2 in the worth the trip briefs. As you all probably could guess, most of the places on that list were sports bars, kind of like the local Q in Greenville. I will admit that when I saw local Q on the list, I thought, well, this has got to be barbecue, but it's pool, as you might. Local pool Q, local Q, but they've got one of the best wing places, according to Southern Living. On the barbecue joint side of it, Saul's Juke Joint in Birmingham, kind of in the Crestline neighborhood, they got a top 10 spotlight. Saul's Juke Joint was opened by the late Mike Wilson, North Carolina native, and Saul's now smokes wings over hickory wood, then flash fries them before a dip in the Saul signature sauce and a drizzle of the white sauce. And Matt Moore from Southern Living says the meal is one of the best representations of barbecue translated into a wing format, rich in both soul and flavor and apologetically messy. So those are high praises in my book. Congratulations to the team now running Saul's Juke Joint in Crestline of Birmingham. Also on the list of the Big 20 is Mama's Mustard, Pickles, and Barbecue in Louisville, Kentucky, and Smokin' Joe Box in Sherwood, Arkansas. If you're a fan of wings, Red's Corner in Southern Pines host a food truck wing battle. They got the food trucks. They're going to bring them out. They're all doing wings. Saturday, February the 8th from 1 to 3. Reason I'm bringing it up, our man Chris from Blue Suede Barbecue is a competitor in it. February 8th, 1 to 3. It's the Red Corner Food Truck Wing Battle in Southern Pines. Check that out if you're a really big wings fan. That, my friends, is the final word for the Low and Slow Barbecue Show this week. Thank you so much for listening and for sharing our podcast with your food-loving friends, especially those who appreciate Carolina barbecue. A big thank you to our season sponsor, the Carolina Barbecue Festival. Tickets are now on sale at carolinabbqfest.org. Also, thank you to the Mesh.tv network of podcasts and our producer, Andrew Moose. He makes us look good and sound good. And, well, there's only so much you can do with the looking good on our videos on YouTube. I may have a face for radio. And you can see that on our podcast at the Low and Slow Barbecue Show's YouTube channel if you want to. Or you can visit lowslowbbqshow.com for our blog. We got to sign up for our weekly newsletter. That's where we deliver the latest Carolina barbecue news, fundraisers, food truck schedules, event guide, all that to your email inbox. Just sign up for the newsletter today at lowslowbbqshow.com. For the Low and Slow Barbecue Show, I'm Chigger Willard reminding you that for the best barbecue and the best barbecue podcast, make it low and slow.